Hey listeners, Dan Harris here, host of the 10% Happier podcast. Imagine all your audio entertainment available in just one place. That's what the Audible app is all about. With Audible, you can always find the best of what you love or discover something new. Audible has an incredible selection of wellness titles and originals like The Light Podcast by Michelle Obama, Work It Out by Mel Robbins, and Confidence Gap by Russ Harris. Membership includes access to Audible Originals, podcasts, and tons of audiobooks that you can download or stream as much as you want. And as an Audible member, you can choose one title per month from an ever-growing catalog of titles to keep. The Audible app makes it easy to listen anytime, anywhere, whether you're traveling, working out, doing chores, wherever your day takes you. New members can try Audible now free for 30 days. Visit audible.com/Harris or text Harris to 500-500.
The weather is cooling down a bit. The leaves are starting to fall. Yes, it's that time of year again, football season. And we all know the best part of any game day traditions are the ones that involve food. There's nothing like having everyone in your game day crew coming together to bring their best bites and argue over whose family makes the best chili. And while there's no need to mess with the perfection of game day classics, like a freshly grilled Oscar Mayer hot dog topped with Heinz ketchup and mustard, it's always fun to step out of your comfort zone and get creative with your recipes. Because there's nothing more fun than adding to your list of game day traditions, like making a creamy and delectable queso dip with Velveeta cheese that can be eaten with so much more than just chips. Now is the chance for people across the nation to find out whose game day eats reign supreme. It's your turn to show off your tasty game day food traditions. Go to www.gamedayfoodtraditions.com to share a photo of your game day food tradition to enter to win $10,000. Once again, that's www.gamedayfoodtraditions.com to enter to win $10,000.
This is Full Change with Tom Laidlaw.
Tom, we got a big start today. This one's going to be a good one. We have someone who was probably part of the worst trade in Ranger history. We have a guy who left the Rangers, went up to Boston, tore it up, went by the name of Nifty, Rick Middleton.
I hate him. He's one of those guys I just hate because when you played against him, it's like I think he's lucky all the time. The puck is bouncing around. He goes around me all the time. And I'm thinking, if he's gone around me 100 times, I realize it's not so lucky.
He got lucky 400 times.
Sound easy. I only went around Gresham.
There you go. How you doing there, bud? Good to see you again.
Yeah, good to see you. Thanks for inviting me out.
So Rick and I have never played together, but we played alumni games against each other, I guess you call it, but they're a lot of fun. Yeah, you built a great reputation. So when I got here, the guys like Gresham and Duguay all said fantastic things about you, and unfortunately, you're all true too. So.
Well, as you know, Gresham and I was already in New York when he came up. He came up in November, so basically we started together in New York, and as the story goes, it was the mid-'70s. We had a lot of fun, and I guess they didn't. I was having more fun than him because they kept him.
You're a bad influence. What's that story? Was that the story that you're a bad influence like Gresham?
Well, actually, if you want to know the truth, they traded. Derek was on the team our rookie year.
Oh,
Derek
Sanderson.
Louis. Derek Sanderson. He got traded to St. Louis the next year, and a couple of weeks after he was gone, they wrote an article in the paper that he was the reason he got traded because he was getting two of the younger players with a training problem. Rick Middleton and Robert Rexher. They actually wrote our names in the paper. I'm like, that's not right. So I didn't say anything right away. And some reporter asked me a couple of weeks later, and I didn't say anything inflammatory. Not my style. But next day in New York Post, inch-high headlines, Middleton takes shot at boss.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. I had to end up in the Post. So that was the beginning of the end.
We played that alumni game. We had back-to-back. We played up in Boston the first night. And we had a dinner the night before. And what did you do to Gresh? Did you,
I don't think he had had a drink in a couple of months. I always had to take care of him anyway. Clyde took care of him.
Oh, God. He came down for breakfast the next day. My God.
When he wasn't playing, it was only coaching.
Right, totally. And he was having a hard time coaching as well.
Well, he got the win anyway.
Oh, that's right. That was a lot of fun that weekend. So we had a dinner the night before. The charity was the Navy SEAL Foundation, right? Yeah. So
Warrior Foundation. Right?
Yeah, that's right. So I'm thinking all that. So some Navy SEALs were there with all the uniforms on and everything. I was like a little kid.
Well, we played them this year on December 3rd. Last year they beat us.
Oh,
And this year we added Chara and Kevin Miller to the lineup, and McQuaid and Bork. What a defensive lineup for a Alumni. And we just barely beat them.
Wait, you guys played against a team of Navy SEALs?
yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and some current guys came up too. Frank Simonetti, our new president, has been friendly for years with them.
Right.
And will really has a great relationship with the Warrior.
So we were up in Boston to stand there for the national anthem of the one Navy SEAL who I got to be buddies with the night before. You know, I'd heard a lot of stories about the battles he was in and everything. And he's standing there for the national anthem. He goes, Tom, I'm really nervous. I'm thinking, you're nervous? Oh,
Nervous about this.
yeah, exactly. I'm looking at him like I wouldn't even dare to do what he does. Where did you grow up, Rick? Where's home?
I'm Toronto boy, East End, Scarborough.
Right. Now, were you a pretty good player right away when you first started playing?
No, I used to wear ankle supports on my skates, these rubber things.
Right, yeah.
Not to bantam, minor bantam. When I was 13, I got a new coach, Frank Miller. And Frank said, throw those things away. They're not working anyway. And he was a power skating nut. And in the span of about 3 years, from 13 to 16, he changed my skating around so much. I ended up getting drafted by Oshawa. I got 6 full scholarship offers, and so on.
Good. Where on the scholarship offers? What schools?
The 3 main ones were BU, which was funny because I never ended up going, and Michigan Tech, Michigan U. I can't remember the other 3.
Wow.
Not Northern Michigan? Because Tom went there.
It might have been. I don't remember.
They weren't even around there. We call that the Harvard of the Midwest. Northern Michigan. Right?
Okay.
There's my.
I ended up going to Oshawa instead because I wasn't the best too.
Oh yeah, I'm same here. Brown came and recruited me too, and I sent him my grades. The Brown coach, I can't remember his name now, was a really nice guy. Calls me up and goes, Tom, we'd love to have you on the team, but there's just not much we can do with those grades.
You might have to go to school.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why Northern Michigan took me.
Well, Oshawa was only half an hour from my house in Toronto, so I lived at home during junior, which, as you know, you usually got to move out.
Yeah.
I kept the $60 a week.
There you go. Who was coaching in Oshawa then?
Gus Bodner.
Okay. Wow.
Gus played for the Blackhawks for many years.
Right.
Old time hockey.
Right. And how'd you do? You had probably lit it up pretty good, like a few 6-goal seasons?
Not the first year, but I only played 2 years. I played a year B in Toronto because I wasn't the biggest guy.
Right.
You know, when you're in Toronto, you're watching the Marlboros every Sunday. The Hamilton Red Wings, they're on TV. That was big.
That's right, yeah.
I'm not ready for this show yet. So I played a year B in Toronto, then I played 2 years at A. And my last year was my best year ever. I ended up with the most goals in the league.
Yeah, 67 goals in 62 games. Not bad.
Wow.
Yeah, which wasn't a record.
Oh, was it? Wow.
Oh, no. I scored a lot more than that.
Right.
It was the most that year, so that propelled me into the first round territory, and the Rangers took me 14th. As you know, it's a great thrill.
Yeah. Did you go to the draft when you were drafted?
Yeah, I was in Montreal. In those days, they were all in Montreal.
Yeah.
Not televised.
Yeah.
Like Bob Daly went the same year.
Right.
And Peter Marin.
So what year was that? Was that 50? Or, yeah.
50. Wow.
I'm sorry.
73, yeah. And if you remember, the Bruins beat the Rangers for the Cup in 72.
Right.
So when I went to camp, the Rangers still had a pretty good Stanley Cup caliber team.
Right. So the year you were drafted, the next year you went to camp with the Rangers. You made the team that year?
No, they sent me to Providence, their farm team, Providence Reds, which, you know, I didn't take it negatively at all. I mean, this was a Stanley Cup contender team. And I've always been ready to, you know, I played a year of B before I played A. I was always ready to, when I felt I was ready. Right. They kept me in Providence the whole year, which helped me win Rookie of the Year that year. I had a pretty good year. I don't know how many points, but we went
84, not bad.
We went to the finals against the Hershey Bears, and we lost in 5. Calder Cup.
See, I think that's smart of you, right? There's so many people that players to rush to get to the National Hockey instead of taking your time, maturing. And
well, I would have loved to stay, but I remember trying to go down one-on-one. You know, my game.
Yeah.
This Joe Marat.
Yeah.
And I'm giving him the deke and everything, and I go around and he just sticks his arm out like that. You're not going anywhere.
Yeah, that's funny.
This is a little different league. Yeah.
Where was training camp? Long Beach? Is that where the guys were?
No, I was in Kitchener, Ontario.
Oh.
Yeah, the Rangers still had it in Canada. So I was only an hour from my house.
Very cool. So you didn't leave home at all, hardly.
No.
These came to you.
When I drafted, I bought a new car. I had a 64 Merc during junior. You remember how it was with your first car.
Oh, yeah.
Bought a new car, a 73 Pontiac Grand Am 404 barrel, and got in the car and left for the States and really never went back, just to visit.
Right. Now, is your family still up there?
My sister and nephew and his kids, but no, my mom and dad are.
Rick, who gave you the nickname Nifty?
Jerry Cheevers takes credit for it, so, I'll give it to him. I honestly don't know. It's just kind of, how nicknames are. I had a few in New York, but they never followed me.
Well, what were they? What were they?
Come on, give it to us. Come on. Just tell us, girl.
I had so many. Like Derek used to call me Rocket. I think he still does today.
Oh, it's all right. Yeah.
I can't tell you the one because I was nicknamed after a stripper.
Oh, I don't know if I've ever heard that before.
If I remember correctly, we were all in this establishment in Long Island somewhere, and the stripper came down, and her stage name was Silky. So Gresh will attest to this because he still calls me.
Right. That's funny.
And all of a sudden, Stamkowski started calling her Silky. Right.
Oh, okay.
Even with centerman. But
So, what, she took a little shine to you? Is this?
well, it wasn't a she. It turned out to be he. So I got
Oh, that's classic.
from my memory, and I'm not really sure. Maybe my memory is gone. It's a lot of years ago.
That's funny.
That's laughing.
So you didn't obviously know at first that she was not a she.
Not at first, no, and had the long, stringy blonde hair like I did down to the shoulders.
Oh, that's funny.
Stemmer picked up on it.
Pete Stemkowski.
Oh, that's funny. That's a classic story.
Yeah, it was. I only was there 2 years, so a lot of these stories never came out.
Oh, that's good. That's fantastic.
So you got your first nickname in the NHL from the Rangers after a transvestite stripper.
There you go. Yeah.
All right.
It made me a book.
I think that's the first I've ever heard of that. I've never heard that story. That's excellent. Good job.
Gresh was probably there, so he could probably attest.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, if he can remember it now, like he'll probably embellish it a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Definitely. And so, how did you do scoring wise when you were in New York?
First year wasn't bad. I think 30 some odd goals, but I had 22 goals. I had 18 by Christmas. I was doing pretty well for the rookie of the year, and then I got a stick in the mouth, lost my first 14. And the Rangers took me on the road. They put this football helmet on me with a guard. I looked like Fran Tarkenton. Like hit me here, right?
Yeah.
I go on the road, and we're in. We go to Chicago, we go to St. Louis, and then we're in Minnesota like a week later. I really haven't eaten well because I had 16 stitches. My mouth was all swollen. And somebody, I think it was Dennis Hextall, came to hit me in the corner. And I went to slide the check. I went over my own ankle and a hairline fracture.
Oh, wow.
It was a bad week.
Yeah, no kidding.
At 18, by then, I ended up with 20. I came back, and I got 4 more. I ended up with 22.
Is that the same week you met Silky, too?
What?
Is that the same week you met Silky?
I can't remember if it was before or after, but it certainly wasn't the same week.
Imagine that week you break your ankle, lose your teeth, and meet a transvestite stripper.
That would have been a really bad week.
Yeah, solid week.
Good. So the next season, how'd that go?
Well, the next season was the Rangers in transition. They traded Derek. They traded the big trade with Brad Park and Jean Rattel to Boston for Espo and Vadnais. And then they fired the cat. They brought in Ron Stewart as the coach, the second coach that year. Right around then was when that article came out with Derek being traded. And then John Ferguson came in as the third coach that year. We were going to straighten it out, have a meeting with the owner, and this and that. That never happened. It's the only year in my career I missed the playoffs. The team just didn't gel. We had, good talent, good names on the team. I got the honor of playing with Phil Esposito that year.
Right.
But we just didn't gel. JD's first year with the team, I think, in net, John Davidson, we missed the playoffs, and then they just. I think as I found out when I went to Boston was Espo kept hounding Fergie to get one of his old wingers.
Yeah, Ken Hodge, right?
Get rid of Middleton. It was I want one of my old wingers, and they I guess soured on me obviously,
right.
And the Bruins had Don Cherry had soured on Kenny Hodge at the time, so that's why they made the trade. But I said a lot of people don't remember the connection here with John Ferguson and Harry Sinden, right? 1972, series of the century. They were both the coaches.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And then Bill.
So that's Canada versus Russia, right?
Bill and Fergie and Harry. Right. So with the three of them knowing each other so well, I think that's how a lot of that came about. It was great for me.
So you never got a chance to tell ownership in New York that you did not say that in the article?
No, I never met with Bill Jennings, I think was the owner at that time.
Right.
I never said anything about him. I said I couldn't believe how well-educated man like him could believe in such gossip that wasn't true. I mean, Chris and I were 20 years old, 21 years old, but we didn't need Derek to take us something.
Yeah.
And that was before Studio 54. We used to go to a little place on First Avenue called the Tittletat.
Oh,
and that's when the Giants would play Sunday afternoon, and we'd play Sunday night. So it'd just be all jocked. And then we had to be back in Long Beach Monday morning, 10:30 on the ice. Oh,
so you never went home, probably. This one right. I know. I tell everybody, like, we were probably the same way. So Friday nights we always travel someplace like Montreal, go out to Montreal, have some fun, play the game Saturday night, have a few beers on the plane home, and Sunday night we played at home. We couldn't move.
Yeah,
I know the coaches are always like, "Geez, why can't we play so well on Sunday nights?"
Well, so it wasn't our fault. I mean, we flew commercial in those days.
That's right.
Over.
I know.
Went early and stay over. It wasn't.
Oh, I know. I thought it was a blast. When we flew commercial, we had a great time. Like, all the rest, because
the planes were half full in those.
Yep.
You could lie out, right? Get your own bed.
Oh God, I've ever used it.
It went pretty easy. No security.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Some of the stuff we did, like getting on the carousel, the baggage claim and all.
You get there 10 minutes before the flight.
Yeah. That's funny. That was fun. I tell you, the traveling part, that was fun. I had a blast traveling. That was one of the best of the guys all together.
Yeah. You're young. It didn't bother.
Yeah, definitely.
So Rick, when you get traded, is that a big shock to you? I know you had the falling out a little bit with management, but are you still taken back when you get shipped to Boston?
Yeah. The only thing that made me think, maybe it might happen, I picked some buddies up after we were out of the playoffs. They came down from Toronto. And as soon as I picked them up at the airport, they said, hey, here you're getting traded to Boston for Hodge. And I had never heard the rumor in New York, but, Toronto, it's a hotbed. And I said, it's just a rumor. That was probably about 2 weeks before it happened. So I had an inkling from that, but, nobody wants to get traded. When I got drafted by the Rangers, I loved it. I mean, one of the original 16, being a Toronto boy, I followed the 6 teams growing up. I had all the hockey cards. To be a New York Ranger, I was very proud. I had vision of a Stanley Cup team in 72 having maybe a chance at the Cup. Well, it didn't happen that way. But then I started thinking, well, Boston, let's see, Brad Park and Bobby Orr on the fifth. That might So I started changing my sights to that. Unfortunately, when I got to Boston that year, Bobby was gone.
Oh, he wasn't he? Okay. I was just going to ask you because I know for me, it was a thrill to play with Gretzky out in L.A. when he got traded there. So it's like, so I'm assuming Bobby Orr would have been the same way. Just be
no, he was on the team in May when I got traded, and he was gone by September. Thanks.
Wow.
Alan Eagleson.
Oh, that's right too. Oh God, yeah, that was a mess. So you've got to know Bobby pretty good, though, right? All the alumni stuff.
Oh yeah, he's he's not part of the alumni, but anytime the alumni ever needed anything as far as items to be signed, for auctions, for charity events, or whatever, he was always there.
So I barely know him, but I was in the agent business, and obviously he's in the agent business as well. There's a couple of times I had called him, and he was fantastic to me because I really didn't know him. Just the fact that I was a former player, but it's Bobby Orr, for God's sake.
He'll do anything for anyone. Yeah. As long as he just has to watch very careful. Nobody's trying to use this stuff.
Yes. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, if you're looking out for Bobby Orr, he'll take care of you.
He knows who you are.
Yeah, definitely. So how many years were you in Boston then?
12. 76 to 88.
Good.
My last year, Harry bought me out of my option year. I was 12 points from 1,000, so I thank Harry. Well, I ended up going to Switzerland. We had a verbal deal that I would skate, stay in shape, and come back because they always end early over there.
Right.
So a lot of people don't know. I went over to Switzerland in November of 88. an agent friend of mine who found me a job on the last place team in the B League.
Oh, sorry.
We averaged 7 goals against the game. I was saying, I can't score 8. I'm 35 years old. Come on. So, but I did. I played on the big rinks over there. I was so far out of shape. I was tired. But
Sorry.
I played in a little town north of Zurich. And I came back. We were out of the playoffs January 6th.
Right.
And I came home January 7th.
And did you play with the Bruins when you got home?
No, I never. I was so hockeyed out by it. I was so disgruntled. They did call me, wanted me to go to Maine for a week, get my leg.
Right.
Because I hadn't called them in a couple of weeks.
Right.
But they did call me, and I said, no, you got to retire sometime. You got to get on with your life. And I had nothing to do that.
Did you get along with Harry? I know he bought you that contract. Did you go
Pretty much. I was thanked him for bringing me to Boston. We had maybe a little conflict over a contract once, and then but the way it ended, it was 5 minutes in his office up to 12 years and 12 points from 1,000, that sort of deal. I wasn't looking for him to give me anything. Just platoon me the next year. Let me play one more year. I don't know. He had to pay me 2/3, as you know. When you buyout in the old years, he had to pay you 2/3 of the contract. Come on, it's to save 1/3.
I almost felt like to Harry, like he wanted to build that reputation, right? Like, I'm Harry Sinden, I'm going to be that hard guy.
Well, he was always very frugal with the dollars, and even long after me, really right up until the way I looked at it, till the lockout in 2005, the Bruins never spent it.
Yeah.
And then after they got the salary cap, they spent right to the top, and they got in charge, and they ended up winning a cup.
Right.
All those years now.
Like Ray Bourque, I've got a ton of respect for, but he took a lot of heat from the Players Association because he didn't really, it appeared he didn't really fight for as much money as he could have got.
Well, he went to arbitration and he lost.
Oh, I didn't know that. Oh,
but yeah, he went to arbitration and he lost. They said he was the best defenseman in the league. It should be paid, but not one of the best players in the league.
wow.
Something like that. And Ray still stayed and was loyal to the Bruins all those years, right until he finally asked to be traded. Wow. And then he asked to go to Philadelphia because he thought Philly had a shot at the cup in those days, back around 2000. And Harry agreed to it, ended up trading him to Colorado because he got a better deal.
Oh, is that right?
Well, ironically, he ended up winning the cup in 2 years to Colorado. Philly never won it. So, retrospect.
I didn't know that stuff about Ray. Wow, I just thought.
Yeah, he probably should have left when they beat him up on the arbitration.
Yeah, no kidding.
A lot of other guys would have. He was loyal to the Bruins, right to the end.
Right, and you got to admire him for that, right? I think that was part of the value of Ray Bourque, not just
absolutely
great player. Yeah,
great teammate. Great guy. Plays on the alumni from time to time.
Yeah. When we went up to Boston, he played in the game, and
he'll play in the big games.
Yeah, totally.
Competitive. Yeah.
We actually, Darius Kasparaitis and I were on the ice at the same time. Ray came down on us 1-on-2, and we realized, we got to let Ray go through. He may beat us anyways, but we let him go through. And we had Steve Valiquette was in net. He just wouldn't let anybody score. It's Ray Bourque. We're in Boston. Let him score a goal, for God's sakes.
We let other teams score, right? But not the Bruins or the Rangers. Not when you're playing our alumni.
It's so funny. Like, we play these alumni games, and Rod Duguay still thinks he can play an astronaut.
I play with Duguay in the Maritimes quite a bit.
Oh, is that right, yeah? Oh, God. Oh, I know. We play those games. I tell the guys on our team, I said, if we do nothing else today, we cannot let Rod Duguay score a goal right now. So, he's getting mad. He's taking slap shots.
Because then you go out of 2, then they'll want 3.
Right, definitely. So when it came to end, then were you comfortable that it was over? Or I guess you still wanted to get those 12 points, right? But
well, no, I wasn't comfortable, but I had, in my mind, I had decided to move on with my life. I was 35 years old.
Sure.
And, I would have liked one more year, but I didn't have it. I didn't have an agent in those days because I had Eagleson my first 8 years, and I dropped him in the early 80s, and I just did my own contract. But I had a lawyer friend of mine call around to a few teams, and when the Toronto Maple Leafs says that we're not moving in that direction, I knew I wasn't going to hook up with anybody. And then they traded Courtnall for Cordick, so I know.
Oh, is that right? Oh, wow.
It's also your last year, Rick. You guys lost the cup to the Oilers.
To Edmonton, yeah.
They got close.
That was a thrill. It was actually the first time we beat Montreal in a playoff series. The Bruins beat them in 45 years.
That's right, yeah.
And since then, it's really changed the tables over. So I was pretty proud of that because I was the only guy left on the team from the 70s teams that lost the cup. Terry O'Reilly was coach, and I was still playing, but we were only 2 guys who were left from those 70 teams.
That was also they had the power outage in that series, right?
Oh, yeah. The 4th game, we were up 3-2. I think it was the only lead we had in the series, and they had just tied it, and boom, the lights went out.
That's
And we had to go back to Edmonton. I mean, the odds of us coming back were pretty slim. And we lost the 4th game of that.
Right. I always viewed the Boston Bruins like as a real team first kind of thing. Like they built that culture there, and it's still there today. It seems like it's all about team, right?
Yeah, they're very what they have done. Well, they lost it a little bit in the 2000s, but when I came in, they still had Cheevers, Cash, Busick, the carryovers from the Cup year, and then they bring up the young guys and really make you feel what it's supposed to be like your Bruin and not let your teammate down and all that stuff. And that carried over for many, many years, right through with Ray and Cam. And then after that, in the 2000s, I think they lost a bit of it. They had rental players. They went on the cheap a little bit, and they never continued that. And then until we got Bergeron coming in as a new player, Chara as a leader, and then they built it again. But they lost it in the 2000s.
Right. So did you think you got more of that team atmosphere when you left New York? I don't want to criticize the Rangers, but when you went to the Boston Bruins, you think that increased in your mind, like that you saw a different kind of way to play the game?
Maybe a little bit. Only because the Bruins, the Rangers were a team in transition that year. Yeah, they had a pretty tight team when I got there. That nucleus that they had that went to the Cup final against Boston had been together for a long time. Rod Gilbert, with Joe Bradpart, all these Eddie Giacomo. I loved all those guys.
Sure.
I grew up watching them. I'm only 22.
Right.
I grew up, and now I'm playing with these guys, and I loved it. But when the team started transitioning and they got rid of Eddie Giacomo, the fans hated it.
Yeah, no kidding.
And then Brad and Ratty, and so the nucleus was gone. You know how that is. Now they had to rebuild the nucleus, start all over, and you guys did it by 79.
Yeah, they brought in a defenseman from Northern Michigan. That turned everything around.
Yeah, right.
Well, it takes years to do that.
Yeah.
The Bruins never had that gap. So when I got there, actually, I didn't even play when I got there. I mean, there was no opening for it.
Oh, really? Oh,
Well, no. Dodd played me my first game as a Bruin. I got a hat trick against Minnesota. So he's thinking, when are we going to put him now? But I only got 20 on the whole year because he just platooned me.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. Huh?
One thing he did for me, he played me a lot of left wing.
Right.
Especially the next year because Johnny Busick retired. And so I was playing both sides, which really helped my game in the long run.
Sure.
I ended up making the Canada Cup team in 81 because Perreault and Barber got hurt. They needed a left winger. They asked me, can you play left wing? I said, I
Absolutely, yeah. Play Canada, yeah, absolutely.
What was the reason I made that team?
Well, you also had 5 years in a row of 40 goals, so you're selling yourself a little bit short there.
That would come a little later, yeah.
Right.
Do you remember your first goal?
There's a what?
Do you remember your first goal in the NHL?
No, I don't. But I do remember because I saw the stats that it was against the Washington Capitals in Boston Garden. I got 2 in Madison Square Gardens. I got 2 that game. But honestly, I don't remember either one of them. And that was the Washington's first game in the league.
Oh, really? Wow.
73. Yeah.
Well, you were there for my first goal. We were in Boston, my first game in the National.
Here we go.
And the JD's in net. I'm so nervous. Just like, your whole life, a dream. And, you get the Terry O'Reilly and Stan Jonathan, Wentzik and all these guys. So I was so nervous. I went to shoot the puck around the back of the net. It showed up JD's leg right in the net. That was my first game in the NHL.
Is that right?
Oh,
They didn't give him the puck for that one, though.
oh God! I'm saying to JD, can't you stop that? I'm like, let's go.
Come on, you didn't see that?
How were you like your first game in the NHL? For me, that was just like an unbelievable feeling.
I wish I could remember.
Really?
I honestly don't. Against
Wow.
I love Madison Square Gardens. Even to this day, I love going down there. It's just something. I'm so proud that I started my career there.
Right.
And I only remember, I've always been known to have a pretty bad memory, but I only remember the Boston hat trick because I've seen the films of it.
Oh, is that right? Yeah.
Did you take like extra pride in beating the Rangers, scoring against the Rangers after getting traded?
I can't say extra pride, but I always wanted to prove that they were wrong.
Yeah.
So,
You did that.
Especially back in Madison Square, because I always loved playing there and I always wanted to have good games.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like shove it down it wasn't like that, but you do want to have good games. So they can't say, he's a bomb. They did the
I joked around about it when we started the show here, but you had that ability where, honest to God, like there was you, there's Mike Bossy, and I'm thinking that these guys are lucky. Like when you first play against you, it's like the pucks bouncing all over the place, and I think this guy's lucky. He can't do that again.
Well, if I had a Bossy shot, I maybe wouldn't have been having to give it to Duke, but I had to get inside and get 3 feet from the net before I scored. I didn't have G's shot or Bossy's shot.
Wow.
I had developed that knack. Today, I couldn't play today because the defenseman can turn and skate so fast that when do you ever see a one-on-one? You hardly ever see the fans get beat anymore. But
No, since Tom retired, that slowed down a lot.
No, but in our day, the back checking wasn't so
It was optional, right?
You could slow the game down. So I like to get the puck around center ice and actually slow it down if I had. So the fence back then too fast. Now you're standing.
That was true with you, yeah.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Oh, totally. I hated playing against you because I think like, oh my God, this guy, like he's going to do it again. He does it over and over all the time.
Well, it doesn't always work. It was a percentage, but I get knocked down many times.
Well, and that's the thing with you too. I could think, okay, I'm going to get him at the front end. I got to cross check him in the back and all this kind of stuff. And I do that, but you wouldn't stop. It didn't stop you. You just kept on going, right? Very good.
Well, you always got to get back up, right?
Yeah, definitely. Any regrets about your career at all?
Any regrets?
Yeah.
No, outside of just not finishing it off, right? Like getting those 12 points and getting the 1,000 points and, finishing it the way I would want to finish it. I love playing for the Rangers. It would have been nice to stay there my whole career too. But when I got to Boston and the life, all my kids are born there. I love New England and everything. It was a good place to go for me. I mean, I could have ended up in Winnipeg or nothing to get at Winnipeg, but or a team that was just building at the time. But I went to a perennial winner. First 2 years in Boston, Stanley Cup final.
That's right.
So I went from a team that didn't make the playoffs to 2 Stanley Cup finals. And a lot of guys never even make it to the final.
Right.
Well, Tom didn't.
Did you make it to the finals?
I did it. Yeah. Did roller hockey.
Yeah, roller hockey, yeah.
You were there in 79?
No, I came in 80, 81. So I,
81.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. So I came in, so they went to the final 79. Then they made that big trade for Barry Beck, traded 5 guys away. So, yeah.
But we were 1 minute away from playing the Rangers.
That's right, yeah.
That was that overtime by LaFleur, right?
I scored with 4 minutes to go in the game to go up one.
Oh, that's right.
We thought we had them, but I was like, here comes New York. Come on.
That's right. That would have been fun, right?
Would have been a blast. And they had a really good team in those days.
Yeah.
It would have been a dogfight.
Yeah, it would have. Yeah.
And that Montreal series, they ended up losing the first game to New York because I think they were so a little tired.
Yeah.
Right. And we would have felt the same way. We would have been.
Could you imagine if you beat them, Rick, and the Stanley Cup Finals and the headline was like Silky gets game-winning goal on a trade?
I could see Stemmer putting that headline.
Oh my God, that's a class. I got to tell you, that's a classic story. I've never heard of a guy going into strip right.
I haven't told it to many people.
Yes, it's our secret. It's our secret right here. Yeah, we won't tell you about it. Definitely. So now the game ends for you. Now you got to make a change into something else. What'd you do when you got done?
Well, it's funny. I went into the beauty industry. And
there you go.
People say, well, that's right, because you were a real beauty.
Yes. Yeah.
A buddy of mine owned a distributorship. And, when you finish your career, I had never really, like a lot of guys, spent a lot of time thinking about what I'm going to do afterwards.
Right.
I got lucky. He asked me if I wanted to come to work. C.D. Sullivan was his name. He's passed away now. But, and in 6 months after retiring, he gave me an opportunity to learn a business. He says, I wanted you to put out the first catalog in my I said, but I know about the catalog. But what do I know about distribution and certainly the beauty industry? But I ended up putting out a mail order catalog to men's shop, barber shop. Didn't have to travel anymore with mail order. Never punched a clock. we went. He was a sports guy. Lived golfing in Scotland, skiing in Beaver Creek, Colorado. So 20 years. I said I'll try it, and I ended up being there 20 years. And he finally sold the company at 210 to L'Oreal.
Oh, wow, very cool.
A great man, a great distributorship, and I learned a lot about distribution, just how to run. But we were hockey players. We don't know a lot about business or how to do things in business. And he taught me a lot, which helped me after 210 here doing a few things. So
yeah, because you and I were talking at one point. You get some other business, some other guys too. Wasn't a communications business or something? What was it?
Yeah, I was with a buddy of mine who I'm still in business with. He started a texting company.
Yes.
You could text to landline. And you say, why would you want to do that? Well, most businesses still work off of landlines. They don't work off cell phone.
Right.
Well, but then he ended up selling that business also. And now he's developed another business that MVNO. Most people don't know what an MVNO is, but it's like Mint Mobile. They're all these less expensive phone companies that they're really all run by the three big ones. But it's a market that's less expensive, and he's starting a company and gearing it towards credit union. So I'm involved with them. Yeah, you always got to keep busy doing something. But I love things that are brand new and getting in on the ground floor.
Yeah, that is cool. Very cool.
Hey, Tom, there's a great event coming up for your buddy and friend of the show, Bernie Nichols, and his foundation.
Yes, Bernie's a good man, funny man.
Yeah, he's great on our show. He's got like a 3-day event, a charity event for his foundation in Vegas coming up May 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. It's great. It's golf. It's poker. There's an auction. It's just a cool hang. So
right. I'll tell you, just to hang around with Bernie Nichols for 3 days, that'd be just enough right there. He's a funny man. I love playing with him. Great teammate. Loves having fun. His stories, and he's a good practical joker too. He likes to pull a practical joke.
Right up your alley.
Oh yes.
So the lineup, the celebrity lineup is incredible. He's got the golf swing doctor Hank Haney. Wow. He's got Marty McSorley, your ex-teammate.
Right, there you go.
He's got Jack Wagner, who was on Melrose Place. I know you don't watch TV, but he's a big actor and a golfer.
Yeah.
Gary Lehman, 50-goal scorer in the NHL.
Real good player. Yep.
He's got Damon Allen, Matthew Barnaby, who's going to probably mix it up.
Yeah, he's got personality. He does. That'll be fun.
Kim Alexis, the ex Mrs. Duguay, will be there.
Definitely.
Greg Maddux, Hall of Fame baseball pitcher.
Oh, nice.
John O'Hurley, who was on Seinfeld. Darren Banks.
Wow.
Brad Mayday.
Oh.
Mark Rippon, quarterback. Mark O'Mara, pro golfer. Jim McMahon, who was...
that's quite a lineup.
Yeah,
man.
and JR, Jeremy Roenick.
Wow, some good personalities there, too, with JR and Matthew Barnaby there and Bernie there. And Marty's pretty good, too. He's pretty funny.
That looks like it's going to be a total riot. This looks like a great time. It's in Vegas. If anybody is in the area or wants to go out there, they still have some openings for some foursomes, and you can find information at bernienichols.com.
Wow, very cool. Maybe we should go out there and do a show.
You know what? Maybe we should shoot for that for next year.
What's the date again?
May 1st, 2nd, and 3rd.
Wow, that's fun. Yeah, we'll shoot for next year. That'd be better.
Lots of meet and greets, golf, and an auction. Looks like a really good time.
Yes, it does.
bernienichols.com.
Good job. You're not in the Hall of Fame, correct?
No. And a lot of it, every year that it comes up, people go, oh, you should be in the Hall. I say, well, I was a plaintiff, one of 5 plaintiffs in a class action RICO lawsuit against the NHL and all the owners in the early days.
Oh.
And unfortunately, nobody knows about it. This was a class action suit, and like the look on your face, you didn't even know about it.
Nope.
A lot of lawyers, a couple of lawyers in Chicago decided that Eagleson didn't work alone. And there was a little more than collusion involved with the owner.
Absolutely.
Back in the day. And they wanted to spread out the heat on the class action suit. So they had Brad was already on as one of the signers.
Right.
And I think it was Doug Smale, Dave Forbes, and Nilsson. Who you played with.
What?
And we wanted a 5th guy, and Brad asked me. And I thought about it. I knew I wasn't going to endear myself to the NHL or the owners, but I get on that. And I did. And what happened was that we filed it in Philadelphia federal court. And in those days, in the Philadelphia federal court, they would let you go back as far as you could prove that they were guilty. And then they changed the rule in all the federal courts. So the RICO statute said you could only go back 5 years.
Oh.
And they got thrown out on the statute of limitations all the way to the Supreme Court.
Wow. So when you start,
nobody knew.
right? So when you started the suit, though, there was no limitations on it, and then they changed.
Not in Philadelphia court.
Gotcha.
And we did that because there was 2 teams in Pennsylvania, Philly.
Oh, okay.
And because the rule was, as long as you can show guilt, chain of guilt, you go back as far as you could show it.
Right.
And of course, they changed the rules right in the middle of our lawsuit. I wonder how that happened.
No kid.
I know how that happened.
Yeah, no kid. Is Brad Park's in the Hall of Fame, right?
Oh yeah, he was in already.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
When that happened. Yeah.
Right. That's a shame, though. I mean, it's so far past, and all the owners that sold all the teams now too. It's not the same ownership.
Well, no, all we're still there, including in Boston.
Yeah.
Plus all the things Eagles did.
They're aware of me and what I did, and whether that's the reason or not, I didn't have numbers that would make me a cinch to be in. I had good numbers, but not a cinch. So you could make an argument one way or the other.
Right.
But then you look at some of the other guys that have gotten in, comparable numbers to me, maybe this.
Well, you look at Daniel Alfredson just got in, right? And no disrespect to him, he's a good player, had very good career, didn't win any cups or anything like that. Not that that's a requirement, but numbers-wise, you're right.
It almost is. I mean, a lot of guys, that's one of the factors.
Yeah, and we had Brian Propp on as well, and I think he's in a similar boat you are. Right? You guys are both Hall of Famers. Cicerelli too.
Bernie Nichols, same thing, same kind of numbers.
Yeah. So
you guys should.
Well, there's no senior category. So I mean, the more guys are coming in every year to be eligible.
Yeah.
So you're getting farther and farther away.
Well, as you know too, you need to have somebody kind of to rally the troops a little bit for you, right?
There have been people that put in like a book like this, sending it to them, explaining why they really.
Wow.
I mean, I was lucky enough to coach the U.S. national sled hockey team in 2002, and we won a gold medal also. I like to add that to my.
Yeah, let's talk about that a little.
That's pretty cool. I didn't know that. That's cool.
Yeah. If we got a couple minutes, it's a fantastic story.
Definitely. Yes, please.
I had no idea what sled hockey was. I got a call from a friend of mine who was a disabled skier of the U.S. team. And he played sled hockey, unbeknownst to me. And what happened was their coach had quit in the World Championships in 2000. Now they were the host team in Salt Lake City in 2002 in the Paralympics. They ended up a coach. So he wanted somebody to raise the level of play. So the guy, he called me, he goes, would you be interested? And I thought I had to answer right away or I might lose a chance. I figured nobody's calling me for the Olympics.
Yep.
And even though I didn't know what sled hockey was, it's hockey. I mean, how hard could it go? Yeah. So I said yes, and I ended up getting the job, to make a long story short. And then the whole fun thing of this was they'd never won a game in their history. And we had our selection camp in August 2001. I had to pick, myself and my assistant coach, Tom Moulton, had to pick 15 guys. So only 30 guys from all over the country showed up.
Right.
And we were ready to play in a tournament in Canada against Canada and Japan in September in 9/11.
Oh.
So we never went to Canada, and we never ended up playing another team for 6 months before we went into Salt Lake City. All we had was one camp, Thursday to Sunday, for 6 months, and then we went in. And this is a team, it was kind of like Miracle. We had half the team was from the Chicago team.
Right.
It was the best team in the league. They really didn't have a league, but they played in a tournament.
Right.
And then the rest of Dallas, 3 from Dallas, 2 from Boston, 1 from Buffalo, and brought these guys together. Now, the Chicago guys didn't like everyone. Their coach. Well, the coach didn't like me because he thought he should be.
Oh, okay.
Oh, so we're actually trying to do a movie for the last 6 years. We're trying to get the script right, and we got new script writers called Tough Sledding. And we're going to make a movie out of this, and it's a great story. If we ended up going to Salt Lake City without ever playing anyone, we won the gold medal. And the blades are right under your butt when you're skating down. Like, all like me, they'd be like a foot apart so they don't fall over. But the guys at the Paralympic level, they're like an inch apart.
Right.
So it's like they're going on one blade. Like,
and they beat the crap out of each other too. They hit.
And the U.S. team, I'm proud to say, we were the first one. And since then, they won a bronze and 3 golds in a row.
Wow.
A gold in Vancouver, gold in Sochi, and a gold in
That's cool.
So they're the winningest team in the world, and we were the spark that lit the fire.
Well, you've been very lucky, obviously, and I was very lucky. The Rangers, they've got a sled hockey team, so they had me go practice with them one time. So I got the sled.
Right.
-4 again.
They were the New York team back in 2002. They were one of the teams.
And you know what? I'm sure you'll say the same thing. The guys were fantastic too. Like they're not sitting around crying or complaining. They'll tell the stories. There's one guy who's telling the story how he was motorcycling over this big hill, didn't realize that it excavated there, and they cut off half the hill, so he went flying over. And I tell the story because he was telling. He was laughing at himself there. He's paralyzed. Yeah. He's laughing at himself.
Oh, they all have different stories. I didn't go in there asking them. We had out of 15 guys, there were 2 trained that.
Oh, is that right? Wow.
Jumping train like that from Joe Howard.
Wow.
As a 15-year-old hockey player growing up, jumping train, lost his leg. Ended up with my captain years later. Do you know Vic Calise?
Sounds familiar, like I should know that name.
He was in the governor's office. He ran the disability section. He just moved over to Walmart, but he was a sled player from New York for a year. Right. And he always told me, "You cut me." He tried out for the team in 2002. He was in Nagano in '98 in the World Championship.
Wow.
I thought you might have met him.
Wow. They had me marching. They had a parade at the city, so that sled hockey team was marching. And so they're all in the wheelchairs and everything. And I'm walking, and I bumped into one of the wheelchairs. And I was just being a smartass, kind of like pretending that I was limping. Yeah. And they're chirping me in the background, like, "Oh, poor Tommy," because they're paralyzed. Oh, they were giving it to me. At first, I didn't realize that they were giving it to me. Then I turned around and looked, and they were all dying laughing. Like, yeah,
it's just like able-bodied hockey. The chirp in the dressing room, and that's the one thing that made it easy for me. You didn't see the sleds, you didn't see the disability. Once you went on the ice, it was just regular hockey.
Yeah.
So a couple of penalties are different, but for the most part, it's
yeah. To their credit, there's no sitting around complaining or whining about stuff. They're living their life.
What we're proud of is we just got inducted into the Olympic and Paralympic Hall of Fame last June. It's the first Paralympic team to ever be inducted.
Oh, congrats.
Yeah, thanks.
Very cool. Very cool. Very cool.
And we have a book now called Hockey's Hidden God.
There's a book called that?
Hockey's Hidden God.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a book. You can get it on Amazon, but you can get a discount if you go to my website, Nifty16.com.
Nifty 16? Nifty 16?
Yeah, Nifty 16. Yeah.
Okay.
It's different than my email.
Okay. Very cool. So now you ran the Bruins alumni for 15 years.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it just turned out I was playing as and then I was working with Nesson doing in-between period stuff. And right around 07, Bobby Sweeney was the president of the alumni. Right. And they asked him to become the president of the Bruins Foundation. We were just starting off back in 07. They didn't want him to wear 2 hats, and I was the vice president, so I just moved up and became president. That was the year I left Nesson.
And you guys played like a ton of games every year, right?
We played usually 30 games a year, different, all different organizations and such. And we play to win. We don't play to blow anyone out. But it's not the Harlem Globetrotters.
Right.
It's a competitive, and they're getting younger, and we're getting older.
Sure. Well, I know.
Games are getting too competitive.
We played the Ranger Guards through the Islander alumni about 2 weeks ago. They thought it was Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Finals, for God's sake. Oh, me.
-6.
I was definitely -6. Oh, we lost 8-7. I think I was probably -20. I don't know how I did that, man. I don't know how I did that.
No, that's not fun to play the other.
Yeah, it is fun. Yeah, I think they realized they had some younger guys, and they had like guys like Pierre Turgeon and skate. He wanted it. Yeah, so I think they realized, okay, we got to back off here a little bit. I think they were up like 8-1. They let us score some goals. So.
That happened to us. We played down here at the Tampa alumni years ago.
Oh,
yeah, in their building. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And, they let up on it.
I mean, it's funny when you're playing those games. It doesn't really matter. I mean, the competitive spirit gets going a little bit, and you want to win, but at the same time, you're like, oh, it doesn't really.
Well, you do. Well, you just want them to be respectable.
Yeah.
When you're playing a younger team, you don't want to go.
Yeah.
Unless Mike Keenan's coaching you.
Yeah.
We played outdoor alumni game when the Rangers played the Flyers 10 years ago or whatever. And we had like 45,000 people at the game, the alumni game. And Keenan was coaching. And there was a ton of guys. We probably had like 30 guys dressed on the bench. And I'd played a lot. So I went in between the second, third period, I went to Keenan. And I tried, I think Mike Richter was standing right there. And I said to him, listen, I don't have to play a whole lot. I played already. And he said something to me. I'm careful with my language here, but he said something like, I'll play whoever the heck I want to play.
I don't know him, so I can't attest to that.
Rod Duguay knows him, and he says he's changed a lot. I guess maybe he's out of the coaching game, so he's like that anymore. But yeah, he's...
Well, it's like when you get a persona. You have to keep that persona up, really, even if it isn't really you.
Yeah.
So you'll always be Silky then, right, Rick?
Well, no, I left New York, and that never followed.
Left that name there, and we won't tell anybody else then.
Yeah, believe me, we told you guys.
Yeah, it stays right here.
It's such a funny story, And what do you have at the end of the day if you don't have the story?
Yeah, true, very true. Oh, the stories are fantastic. Like it's funny. I'll see some old, like the Dave Soap, for instance. Him and I were roommates with the Rangers.
Sophie plays for Ireland.
Yeah. So it's funny, like we tell some old stories, and I have to say to him, I said, Silky, did that really happen like that? He said, oh, yeah, it did. Yeah. Listen, you have built a fantastic reputation for yourself, obviously as a player and as a person. Everybody I ever talked to just thinks the world of you. So thank you very much for being on our show.
Well, it's my pleasure, Tom, and Tom, and thanks for having me on.
Thanks, Rick.
I always enjoyed talking hockey.
Yeah.
Telling a few stories and busting on grass whenever.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, we got to do more of that. Maybe we should have another show. We have a whole bunch of guys just busting on grass. We'll do that. All right, good. Cool. Great to see you again there, Silky.
Thanks, Rick.
There we go.
Goodbye.
I think that was.
There you go, brother.
Thanks,
Rick. Wow, Rick Middleton. So I never knew he was on the Rangers growing up. And when I watched them play the Bruins, I always thought, the Rangers got rid of this guy? I mean, he was so good.
He was one of those guys who you played against, too. It's like, we talked about the show there. They always felt he was lucky when he first went around. Like, he beat me 1-1 or something. Like, he's not going to do that again. Then he does it again. You're like, oh.
Yeah, then it's just not luck anymore.
Yeah.
He's just good.
It's skill. Great guy, too. Again, I didn't really know him that much. A lot of guys like Ron Gresher just talked glowingly about him. And I've got to know him now through alumni stuff.
The guy's a Hall of Famer. It's another one. It's a shame that he's not in there.
Yeah, totally. We could have a little Hall of Fame show.
We should. Well, yeah, we absolutely should. We should, maybe bang the drum for these guys because they should be in there and they should be forgotten about.
Totally. And I think as they go on and age and they get farther away from the game, it's harder.
To get drum up that interest. We got to. We have him and we had Brian Propp, Bernie Nichols, and of course yourself.
Well, I already am in 2 Hall of Fame. So
3. Well, you're in the Life Hall of Fame too. So that's obviously and your own Hall of Fame. So that's 4.
I do got my own Hall of Fame.
That's it.
That was a great show, Mike.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right, Grasshoppers. Thank you for listening. We had a fantastic show. We'll see you next time.